In today's video, I'm going to be following on from my efforts down at Cannock Chase, where I'm preparing myself for the upcoming season of autumn photography in the woods. I'm out in my local forest of the Forest of Dean, and I'm working on my compositions and my woodland photography in preparation for the upcoming autumn season. I get some images that I'm really happy with today, but it doesn't start that way. So, let's get into it. Morning everyone. Today I think is going to be one of those days that we can all associate with. Today I really don't have the mojo for this. It's wet, it's miserable, I've done a 6-day working week, I'm very tired, but I need to get out. On a wet and miserable day, you definitely need this, your wellies, and I found some elevation. I went up into the woods and I am in the cloud, not the one online. I've never been to this section of woodland before. This is a bit of a recce as well. Not the ideal way to do a recce when you can't see anything because there's so much clay, but hopefully that means I'll just get a few shots instead. It'll be a find what we find sort of day today, so let's just have a bit of a meander. I'm hoping that this bit that I'm about to head off to, that gives me a little bit of open ground and I'll be able to get some trees in the mist. If not, I know this section of woodland behind me, that's quite dense, so we might be able to dart back into that and see what's going on there. There is a bit of autumnal turn in the air. We might get a bit of colour as well. So I'm hoping this section that I'm heading off to first is going to give me an open space. Apparently there's cattle grazing around here and it's a nature reserve, so should do. Try and get a subject a bit autumnally and some subjects that are in the background in the mist. That would be great. I'm going through a bit of a phase of, is that a composition? Is that a composition? Maybe there's too much here. Or I'm not seeing anything. I don't know. I think it will be time to crack out the camera and have a look at what we've got. Yeah, that ain't happening. That's some big horns. Let's go back that way. Well, it's really started to chuck it down. Good job I brought my umbrella, but I really felt I need to get my camera out because I'm wandering around and not finding anything. So I've come into a little bit of a clearing and I'm just going to work with it, see what I can make from this clearing. I've got a couple of subjects that are in it. I'll talk you through my considerations for them, but I think this is going to be the best from this bit that I've just walked down. So let's see what we can get. Okay, so we set up for shot number one, and this first shot is of this tree that I've got centralized here with the misty background and the ferns behind it. The pines behind it, all blending into the mist. Now, I did have a couple of considerations with this one. This tree on the left here, the larger one, which I'm going to call an oak because I have no idea what it is, and this silver birch, they tend to encroach in on the shot. So I've shot this wide because I've given myself two options. A 16:9 crop, which will take out a lot of the dead sky and the foliage in the foreground, or a square crop, which will just have the main subject flanked by the two trees that are either side of it. Now, it is quite breezy, so I've had to make sure that my shutter is my priority. I've shot it at about a 60th of a second. I've gone as shallow as I can because I want to maximise my softness in the background. So that meant my ISO had to come up to about 500th of a second. That'll be totally wrong. ISO 500.
So here's our first image of the day, and this is the 16:9. But I do feel that the square crop is the better of the two, but unfortunately I had to crop in way too far for that image.
Well, I'm quite enjoying working one little area, I'll be quite honest. Yes, the fog is hanging around, or the low cloud, which is making things a little bit more easier. So I could not shoot the silver birch on its own. That was a gimme shot, that was. It was more of a case of could I work an angle on it. The one thing I don't like about this shot is there's a rather dark green tree on the right hand side that is a little bit dominant, but it's the only angle I could get on this silver birch, to be honest. Yeah. Every time you move around to the left or the right, you bring something else in that didn't work. You'll be able to see from the shot that I'm stood in now that there's a branch that's arching over. I needed to get back as far as I can so that it didn't look like I just had a silver birch sticking up into a load of grey. This is as far back as I could go and maintain this angle. Another one I've taken at a high ISO. No need to worry about that, to be quite honest. These days with Lightroom, you can shoot quite high. Yeah. Oh, and I've not used a polarizer today either. Shutter priority is definitely the need of the day. So I don't want to darken it down any more than I need to.
Well, okay, there we go, but I do think I find a better version for this tree a little bit later.
Now, this is another large character in the background there, and it is again flanked by two trees, so I'm hoping I can get the angle on this. It's another one where I need to be far back, because if I get too close to it, I'm going to push the main subject above the line of the trees that are in the mist behind. I'm going to have to wait for the mist to clear a touch and catch this just right, otherwise it's going to be too foggy around the main subject.
Ah, now this is more like what I'm after. Just the right level of separation and just the right level of atmosphere.
So a little bit of timing there, and I've managed to get that tree isolated. I did have to move forward about another 20 feet, I'll be honest. That way I could take these two trees out of the equation just. This was the optimum distance for me to be able to keep the tree under the horizon line of the trees behind, and to be able to get close enough to shoot between the two trees that are flanking it. But it also has given me another viewpoint of the silver birch that I shot earlier. So let's give that one a go. Well, I've certainly needed this today to lift my spirits, I'll be quite honest, and I have really enjoyed it. Probably come over as a miserable old goat, because I am. But yeah, this has lifted my spirits. I've got wet, but I'm in beautiful, beautiful forest. I've got lovely characters. I've got some atmosphere. Just what I needed to lift my spirits for today. So if your mojo is flagging, then be like Steve. Get your ass out of bed, get up into some misty, wet, damp woodland, get soaking wet, and lift your spirits. I can assure you it does. Doesn't sound like it should, but it does. Right, well, thank you guys. I think I'm going to go home now. Everything's going flat. I've lost the microphone, that's gone flat. My camera batteries have gone flat, and yeah, I'm no longer flat. See you in the next one. If not, I know this section of woodland behind me, that's quite dense, so we might be able to dart back into that and see what's going on there. Okay, a little something for you guys that have stuck around to the end. So these conditions, they've just stayed. It's just misty. It's 12:30 now. So I'm going to wander off, and here's a montage for you guys of any photos that I get.
So on a day like today, the final piece of the equation to put me where I needed to be for my photography was to remove any distractions. And yes, in this case that did include the vlogging. Hopefully you agree, I've managed to improve my photography a bit. As much as I love my vlogging, sometimes you've just got to step back and put yourself where you need to be.